What is the Force? Briefly formulated, the universal doctrine teaches that all the visible structures of the world, all things and all beings, are the effects of a ubiquitous power out of which they rise, which supports and fills them during the period of their manifestation, and back into which they must ultimately dissolve. Its manifestation in the cosmos is the structure and flux of the universe itself. God is everywhere, and wherever God is there wholly. So God is in every single leaf, every single tree, everywhere. It transfuses nature, and that was the way the peoples of the world had always cultivated their sense of the natural world as sacred and divine, not as a god stuck up in the heavens, but as a force, a sacred force that imbues the whole of reality. The basis of my understanding is that there is one life, one source, one being, one energy which manifests physically as the universe. We identify as planets, people, rocks, water, air, and so on. I care very much that this one stuff that makes up the universe not be identified as God. Is God the source, or is God a human manner of conceiving of the force and energy that supports the world? That has been my personal relationship with God, a connection with the powerful, loving, wise energy in all of us, in all creation. It is the life force itself. We can all have contact with it in each moment in our lives, but it takes commitment and practice. We must be willing to move through all our deepest fears, doubts, and misunderstandings. People think God is a man. People think God has ears, nose, teeth, and he rises daily in the morning, brushes his teeth, and washes his mouth. And he is an old man, and he has a beard. All these things people think. But no, God is energy. God is perfect and pure energy. The truth is that God is the force. He is the essence of life. He is pure and undefiled consciousness. He is eternal. Oneness of the divine. It may be given 1,000 names, such as the primary cause, God, energy, or I. All that is created has itself in this oneness. Fools, you think of God as a sentient being. God is the word used to represent a force. This force created nothing. It just helps things along. It does not answer prayers, although it may make you think of a way to solve a problem. It has the power to influence you, but not decide for you. An impersonal God, well and good. A subjective God of beauty, truth and goodness inside our own heads. Better still, a formless life force surging through us, a vast power which we can tap. Best of all. God is the vital force which is all-pervading, all-embracing, and therefore beyond human understanding. There is this mysterious energy that wants us to keep growing. I would suggest that imagining God as energy is closer to the nature of the divine than those metaphors that image God with human characteristics. The divine more closely resembles and is more truly energy than person. I do believe in God. I don't believe in God as a person, but I believe in God as a state of energy and consciousness that we all share. Om is the mysterious cosmic energy that is the substratum of all things and all the being of the entire universe. It is the eternal song of the divine. I define God as an energy, a spiritual energy. It has no denomination. It has no judgment. It has an energy that when we're connected to it, we know why we're here and what we're here to do. I know that what you call God really exists, but not in the form you think. God is primal, cosmic energy, the love in your body, your integrity, and your perception of the nature in you and outside of you. God is to me that creative force behind and in the universe, who manifests himself as energy, as life, as order, as beauty, as thought, as conscience, as love. The universe is not a collection of objects, but is an inseparable web of vibrating energy patterns in which no one component has reality independently from the entirety. Included in the entirety is the observer. I do believe there is a power which is divine, creative, and loving, though we can often only describe it with the images and symbols that rise from our particular experiences and those of our communities. This power is part and parcel of all things, human, animal, indeed all that lives. Its story is greater than any one cultural version of it, and yet it is embodied in all stories and in all traditions. The eyes of my soul were opened, and I beheld the plenitude of God, wherein I did comprehend the whole world, both here and beyond the sea, and the abyss, and the ocean, and all things. In all these things I beheld naught, save the divine power, in a manner assuredly indescribable, so that through the excess of marvelling the soul cried with a loud voice, saying, "This world is full of the force." The power exceeds and fills all. This force is unlimited. It is always moving and always flowing. The ancient Hawaiians, the kahunas, used the metaphor of the flow of a running stream to represent the divine force. God is nothing but the power of the universe to organize itself. I think God is the creative force of the universe. I think it is the raw material from which life emerges. I believe that God is like a powerhouse, like where you keep electricity, like a power station, and that he's a supreme power, and that he's neither good nor bad, left or right, black or white. He just is. And we tap that source of power and make of it what we will. Just as electricity can kill people in a chair, or you can light a room with it. I think God is. I believe God is the form of universal energy. It isn't so much that God is the unified state of consciousness that each of us came from and will return to, but more so that God is the creative energy flowing between all states of consciousness. God is in the land beyond the mountains, but God is also in the mountains and in the valley of illusions cradled within the mountains. God is not one thing or another. Rather, God flows between and through all things. Despite not being able to perceive the interpenetrating, subtle energy with our five senses, to one degree or another, we are all aware of it. The experiential religious traditions of the world, from yoga to Sufism to charismatic Christianity to Tai Chi, all these subtle energies, life force. In India's spiritual tradition, the life force is known as prana. In China, chi. The ancient Egyptians referred to it as ka. The Greeks, pneuma. In Judaism, the life force is known as ruach. In Christianity, spiritus. Everything is made of energy, and at the core of this energy is Alpha and Omega, the Father-Mother light, the energy that is the source of life. All particles can be transmuted into other particles. They can be created from energy and can vanish into energy. In this world, classical concepts like elementary particle, material substance, or isolated object have lost their meaning. The whole universe appears as a dynamic web of inseparable energy patterns. The visible world is the invisible organization of energy. The divine, as energy for life, is not fixed in any way. The divine itself is changing and so not determined or given. God, as energy, is ever in motion and flux. God is not anything human. God is a force. God is chaos. God is unknown. God is terror and enlightenment at the same time. What are we? Did you ever feel as though you had something inside you that was only waiting for you to give it a chance to come out? Some sort of extra power that you aren't using? All should be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. For there is a force of love moving through the universe that holds us fast and will never let us go. Force, force, everywhere, force. We ourselves, a mysterious force in the centre of that. I existed before I received this body. I am the eternal and fundamental life energy of the universe. The field of the finite is all that we can see, hear, touch, remember, and describe. This field is basically that which is manifest or tangible. The essential quality of the infinite, by contrast, is its subtlety, its intangibility. This quality is conveyed in the word spirit, whose root meaning is wind or breath. This suggests an invisible but pervasive energy to which the manifest world of the finite responds. This energy, or spirit, infuses all living beings, and without it, any organism must fall apart into its constituent elements. That which is truly alive in the living being is the energy of spirit, and this is never born and never dies. Just as there is no loss of basic energy in the universe, so no thought or action is without its effects, present or ultimate, seen or unseen, felt or unfelt. We should feel that we are constantly in communion with the numinous cosmic force out of which we are born. Often you can see power lines running alongside the street. Unless current is flowing through them, there is no light. The power line is you and I. The current is God. We have the power to allow the current to flow through us and to generate the light of the world, Jesus, or to refuse to be used and thus allow the darkness to spread. Our job as bulbs that shine the divine light is to plug in. The life force is vigorous. The delight that accompanies it counterbalances all the pains and hardships that confront men. It makes life worth living. Though the life force supplies us with its own purpose, it has no other brains to work with than those that has painfully and imperfectly evolved in our heads. Who are we? We are the life force power of the universe. We are the living links in a life force that moves and plays around and through us, binding the deepest soils with the farthest stars. Creation is the product of synchronizing our energy with the universe. Once we experience the whole and recognize it, we become aware that we are nothing but the divine creative force. No matter what your body's appearance is on the outer level, beyond the outer form is an intensely alive energy field. Once we open up to the flow of energy within our body, we can also open up to the flow of energy in the universe. The impersonal energy animating the human apparatus also generates the thoughts with which this apparatus thinks of itself as the responsible source of its activity. In other words, this sense of me as a person with volition and responsibility is, in fact, an activity of this impersonal, animating energy. We are this divine energy. It's not something we have to attain. We just have to realize it, to be present to it. Enlightenment means literally aligning to the energy of my source. Every thought, action, decision, or feeling creates an eddy in the interlocking, interbalancing energy fields of life. At our most elemental, we are not a chemical reaction, but an energetic charge. Human beings and all living things are a coalescence of energy in a field of energy connected to every other thing in the world. This pulsating energy field is the central engine of our being and our consciousness, the alpha and the omega of our existence. The thinking me has vanished, and with it vanishes a sense of separation, of unique identity. One is conscious of being a participant in the whole of existence, not limited to the body or the moment. It is in this condition that one understands the nature of the divine power and its essential identity with love in the widest sense of that much misused word. What I worship, what is divine for me, is the fundamental energy of ongoing creation with its millions of worlds and trillions of beings. The ever-present energy is there to be drawn on by anyone who opens himself or herself to it. It calls us in the direction of love and compassion, understanding and forgiveness, and whatever else supports the unity of life. If your leaders say to you, "Look, the kingdom is in the sky," then the birds of the sky shall precede you. If they say to you, "It is in the sea," then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside you, and it is outside you. If they ask you, "Where did you come from?" say to them, "We came from the light, the place where light came into being of its own accord and established itself and became manifested through their image." If they ask, "Is it you?" say, "We are its children." Abbot Lot came to Abbot Joseph and said, "Father, to the limit of my ability, I keep my little rule, my little fast, my prayer, my meditation, and contemplative silence, and to the limit of my ability, I work to cleanse my heart of thoughts. What more should I do?" The elder rose up in reply and stretched out his hands to the heavens, and his fingers became like 10 lamps of fire. He said, "Why not be utterly changed into fire?" Man is basically an individual molecule of the God force. Believe in some beneficent force beyond your own limited self. It is this belief in a power larger than myself and other than myself which allows me to venture into the unknown and even the unknowable. Everyone and everything that shows up in the world of form in this universe originates not from a particle, but, as quantum physics teaches us, from an energy field. That energy field can be called God, soul, spirit, or consciousness. It looks a certain way, sounds a certain way, and feels a certain way. I try to stay in harmony with what I believe it sounds and feels like. When two people relate to each other authentically and humanly, God is the force that surges between them. In this way, a permanent energy field of a pure and high frequency will arise between you. No illusion, no pain, no conflict, nothing that is not you, and nothing that is not love can survive in it. Life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. It is the invisible essence and substance of every visible form. Its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom and beauty, as well as energy and imagination. Our highest satisfaction comes from a sense of conscious union with this invisible life. All human endeavour is an attempt to get back to first principles, to find such an inward wholeness that all sense of fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanishes. You, yourself, are the eternal energy which appears as this universe. You didn't come into this world, you came out of it, like a wave from the ocean. To know that you are God is another way of saying that you feel completely with this universe. You feel profoundly rooted in it and connected with it. You feel, in other words, that the whole energy, which expresses itself in the galaxies, is intimate. It is not something to which you are a stranger, but it is that which you, whatever it is, are intimately bound up. That in your seeing, your hearing, your talking, your thinking, your moving, you express that which it is that moves the sun and other stars. Just as a wave is a movement of the whole ocean, you are the energy of the cosmos. Do not underestimate your power. When Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is within you," He meant it literally. The more our awareness becomes centered in our subtle energy body, the more happy, fulfilled, loving, compassionate, energetic, and calm we feel. Who you really are is non-physical energy focused into a physical body. The soul of man is not a thing which comes and goes, is builded and decays like the elemental frame in which it is set to dwell, but a very living force, the very energy of God's organic will, which rules and moulds the universe. I cannot prove to you that God exists, but my work has proved empirically that the pattern of God exists in every man, and that this pattern in the individual has at its disposal the greatest transforming energies of which life is capable. Find this pattern in your own individual self, and life is transformed. This primal you is not the personal character which identifies itself as a body-mind organism. It is the energy that powers this whole manifestation. To cause change to happen, a person needs a greater or bigger force than their own conscious mind to cause that pendulum to start swinging in the other direction. The person needs to embrace a bigger principle. The principle is a force existing all around you and within you, at your beck and call, whenever you're ready to use it. It is the all. Life always delivers the creative energy you need to change into the new thing you become. God is all-pervasive. Why can't we see it? One son asked Amma. Are we able to see electricity? No, but when we touch a live wire, we will receive a shock. You experience electricity. The God principle is also an experience. It is through experience that we should know God. How can we connect? In meditation, the power of God begins to reflect in the clear waters of your consciousness. Silence is golden. It has divine power and immense energy. Try to pay more attention to the silence than to the sounds. Feel the energy of your inner body. Immediately, mental noise slows down or ceases. Feel it in your hands, your feet, your abdomen, your chest. Feel the life that you are, the life that animates the body. The body then becomes a doorway, so to speak, into a deeper sense of aliveness, underneath the fluctuating emotions and underneath your thinking. Please open your eyes now, but keep attention to the inner energy field of the body as you look around the room. The inner body lies at the threshold between your form identity and your essence identity, your true nature. Never lose touch with it. Whenever an answer, a solution, or a creative idea is needed, stop thinking for a moment by focusing attention on your inner energy field. When you resume thinking, it will be fresh and creative. focus your attention within. Feel the energy of the emotion. If there is no emotion present, take your attention more deeply into the inner energy field of your body. It is the doorway into being. Experiencing one's life force more deeply is transformative. Meditation, simply defined, is the disciplined shifting of our awareness from the physical body to our subtle astral body. Sitting in stillness, we become less and less aware of the physical body and naturally and effortlessly become more and more aware of our subtle energy body. As we become more aware of our subtle energy body, we are filled with the peace, love, and joy that is inherent to it. As we become more aware of our subtle energy body, we feel ourselves to be less material and more energetic, less defined and more connected, less matter and more light. When listening to another person, don't just listen with your mind. Listen with your whole body. Feel the energy field of your inner body as you listen. That takes attention away from thinking and creates a still space that enables you to truly listen without the mind interfering. You are giving the other person space to be. It is the most precious gift you can give. When you meditate or pray, both are forms of meditation. You give up control and find the answer, and you open yourself to receive the universal life force. The gift of mental power comes from divine being, and if we concentrate our minds on that truth, we become in tune and with this great power. May the force be with you always.